What's up, Sonic fans? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk about the brand new show on Paramount Plus. I've seen every episode. This is Knuckles. Is it awesome? Let's talk.
You're an alien. You're super powerful. You recently saved the world.
So Knuckles the Echidna teaches Deputy Wade Whipple the techniques of the Echidna warrior. This is rated TV PG. It's for the entire family. This is the opportunity for these creators to take an iconic character, a side player in the Sonic games, but someone who a lot of fans respond to, and kind of flesh him out, develop him as someone who already is prominent in these movies, but can prove that he can handle his own standalone series. And just talking about Knuckles the character, kind of his role, especially in the first few episodes, and the fact that I believe he can handle his own series, he is so much fun to watch. I like when he's involved with the humor. We saw that clip before the show even came out of like, all right, what's Knuckles doing? He doesn't always have to be training to fight someone. Now he can kind of chill out and relax because what's the next big threat? I mean, we're fine. We're safe until the next Sonic movie, obviously. But prior to that, we get something that happens in the middle of the season that is a big deal that Knuckles has to go up against. And they're actually, the villainous side of things, they're utilizing the power of Knuckles to go up against him and complete their mission, execute their goal. And so that back and forth was fun. I do wish Knuckles was way more prominent than the villainous side of things, but I understand that balance. You have some celebrities playing these villains, so you want to give them the screen time and talk about their mission. And then on the other side of things, you have Sonic and Tails who are kind of worried about Knuckles. How is he going to adapt to this life? How is Maddie going to handle the madness? And those moments are cute, fun. They play out very similarly to the Sonic movies, but it's almost like that relationship earlier on this year with Ted, kind of this imaginative figure, in this case, what people are referring to as an alien in this real world. How is he adapting? He is definitely a fish out of water, just like Sonic was in the first movie. Is he going to learn how to fit in? And that's a classic story, one for families, one for kids. I think this show is definitely one that is targeting a younger audience, but one that I think adults can have fun with as well. And when Knuckle is prominent in the series, and when our focus is on those characters and his tribal warrior chief, who plays a pretty big role, and I immediately recognize that voice. I won't spoil who it is, but it's pretty cool who they got to voice it, man. I'm like, oh my God.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
And I see they finally put his name on IMDb. It was a surprise, and I'm going to leave that a surprise for you all, because it's a great cameo, even though I wish that character got a little more time and was a little more fleshed out. Again, fleshing out Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, those characters is what these movies and this series should be. That being said, you have the other main character of the show, that is Wade Whipple, and some would argue as you get into the latter half of the season, especially the second half, he becomes the main character. So it's called Knuckles, but it's not really about Knuckles. It's kind of about Wade. And while I do find Wade kind of funny, and I can definitely see how he's a character that's going to work for kids, I found him to become overbearing, a little overwhelming, and someone who wore out their welcome fairly quick. And while Wade is a character I think is going to work very well for kids, they're going to crack up at his antics, and the antics are definitely there to a cartoonish degree at points in the show. It's a little more subtle in the beginning when they start their venture, their road trip, but it's all about his arc. It's not about Knuckles' arc. And the entirety of the show plays out to where at the beginning you're like, oh, Knuckles is going to learn a lesson. He's going to, be able to adapt to this life that he's living in. He's a fish out of water. And I really like the setup, and I love what they did with Knuckles. But on the other side of thing, you have Wade's story and this bowling tournament and his villain. There's a villain on his side of things that becomes more prominent than the people after Knuckles. And I think the show loses its way at that point, especially when he becomes the main character. And if you're a Wade guy or girl, if you're a Wade fan, then you're going to watch this and be like, this show is awesome, and I'm loving it. And those antics that became a little, like I said, overwhelming at points. I think the shticky schlocky humor worked in the Sonic movies because there was a nice balance between the two. Definitely there. But in this show, it's amplified is elevated. There's more of it, and I don't know if I really responded to that, and I don't know if I responded to the story, especially when we go and see Wade's parents, and we're visiting his family, and he's trying to adjust himself as opposed to Knuckles just being the guy coming along with him, or the echidna. So I wanted Wade to be the character along for the ride, not Knuckles, but it's the opposite, and maybe that's just what I was looking for out of the show, but it didn't deliver for me in that regard. And the final few episodes, there are definitely some great moments with these characters, and you have some people coming in that are awesome. It's really exciting, to be honest with you. It just kind of reminds me of how my big complaint in the MonsterVerse is there's too much focus on the human characters. Now, if you deliver a great human story, that's fine. I'm okay with Godzilla being not as prominent in the background. If the story is compelling, you get emotional, and then Godzilla shows up like a horror figure, which is what we got in something like Godzilla -1. But in the Knuckles series, I wanted it to be Knuckles and friends. I want it to be Sonic and friends. And I get it because you're on a budget. And I actually think it looks really well done. Knuckles, for the most part, looks like he looks in the movies. And that's awesome. Kudos to Paramount Plus for doing that. And so I understand you want the humans to be more prominent so you don't have to spend that outrageous amount of money. Sure. But maybe give us something that was a little bit more compelling than this bowling tournament that I didn't care about.
We don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
And so I need to know down below, did you get enough Knuckles to satisfy? I didn't personally, but when we get him, when we get Sonic and Tails and this tribal warrior, everything about that was great and fun and silly, and it's something for families that's going to work. And so I still, if you're a Sonic fan, I'm still going to recommend this show, but be warned, there are some characters that are really prominent. If you don't like that style of humor, you're not going to like them in the show. Oh, I guess I should mention Idris Elba. We know how good he is as Knuckles. I don't have to talk about that. He's perfect for the character, and he's great again here. If you enjoyed this review and you want more Sonic talk, be sure to drop that like below. I appreciate it. Knuckles works well when he's the focal point of the series. This fish out of water story often allows Elba to nail that serious delivery in a hilarious way. The issue is that it eventually turns into a Wade story, with Knuckles as the sidekick. And that inevitably makes the show, at least for me, far less interesting. I'm curious to see what you all think. If you are a Sonic fan, a Knuckles fan, let me know down below. Where do you want to see these characters go next? And are you excited for Sonic 3 and Keanu Reeves' Shadow? All right, you've got my attention. Thanks for watching. Oh, and what's your favorite Sonic game? Of course, Sonic Adventure 2. Come on, man.